Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the next episode. Welcome to another episode of the Renotalk Show, brought to you live at the Renotalk office located in Mayview City in Singapore. My name is Zeno. I happen to be the editor and the host for for this show as well. Excuse me. We are in our ninth episode. Am I right, guys? Is it ninth episode?
Ninth episode.
And today I am honored to have with me my editorial assistant. Her name is
Natalia.
Natalia.
Everyone.
Yep, Natalia, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you so much. And together we will present you with the topic of the day, the topic of today's episode, which is all about home defects and what you should check out for when you're entering your new home. But before we begin our program proper, as usual, I just want to remind viewers that please do check out the Renotalk's Facebook page, our IG page, for those of you who like the IG worthy kind of stuff. If you have any question or queries, anything on renovation, you can drop your question at our forum, which is at Renotalk.com forum. Let me just check. Do I have the page here? Better get ready everything. Oh yeah, okay, it's the page is here. Yes, it's at Renotalk.com /forum. So Ned let us ask her what's the role in Renotalk. Ned, what's your role at Renotalk? What do you typically do in a day?
Okay, so other than helping Z out with his editorial stuff, like writing articles and such, I also help out with the customer service part, which includes clarifying with homeowners about their renovation details, helping them secure up to 5 renovation quotations for their renovation, and also answering any inquiries that may come in through our Facebook bot or our Drift chat bot, which pops
Yep.
up on our website.
Yeah, so that's what Net does on a daily basis. So I'm sure Net, pertaining to today's topic, which is defects and checking for defects in your new home, I'm sure this is nothing new to you. I'm sure you have come across this both in our forum and I'm sure certain users have actually messaged you personally.
I have.
Messaged you through the chat box. Is that true?
I have, yes.
Yeah.
That's
Okay, so we're gonna go through a little bit more about it. Let's begin. Okay. So when it comes to inspecting defects in your new home, right, it can definitely be a challenge, especially for inexperienced homeowners, lah. Inexperienced homeowners meaning owning your house for the first time. Ned, are you a homeowner yourself? Are you a homeowner? No, right?
Well, kind of.
Kind
Like,
of.
My parents own the place and
Okay.
I live with them, so
Okay.
I suppose
All right.
indirectly.
Okay, but let's go on. So despite your inexperience, inspecting for defects is necessary since our homes are probably the most significant investment that we'll make in our lifetime. Now this should be the check should be preferably done before any renovation work begin. Now before you embark on renovating a new flat, it is a good practice to check your house for defects and get the developer to rectify it for you. Whether you're moving into a new BTO flat, private condo, well, it's best to check for possible defects so that it can be addressed within a 1-year DLP. DLP stands for Defects Liability Period. So I'm just going to quickly bring up the web page of HDB. So if you guys want to get more information before we begin with our program, you guys want to get more information on how you can rectify defects in your new flat, please check out this web page. It is at hdb.gov.sg in a title called, in a heading called Rectification Work for New Flats. So I mentioned earlier the DLP period. So yeah, they have it here within 1 year DLP, what you should do. And what happens if, let's say, you need to do something after the 1 year DLP. So yep, you can find out more information here. So today, we're going to talk about a few the typical checks that we have to, that any new homeowners or any homeowners will have to check. But before I go there, before we do that, let's talk a bit more about defects. Now, if defects is not made, if it's not done properly, right, there might be a possibility that it might get harder and costlier to correct certain defects after the completion of your renovation work. For instance, some defects such as hollow floor tiles need to be rectified before the cabinet, shelves, and wardrobes are installed. Okay, and another example is water seepage in the ceiling. I think one of my episodes, I think I talked about it.
Waterproofing and plumbing.
Yeah, waterproofing and plumbing. That was last 2 episodes, was it? I think so. So that have to be, the water seepage in the ceiling have to be resolved before the erection of false ceiling. If let's say you guys want to construct a false ceiling in your house, but before you start going about checking for defects all over, it's advisable to have a systematic plan. And let's find out what's the systematic way of doing your defect checking. Without further ado, usually in defect checklist, there's 7 main categories. Nat, you want to guess the 7 main categories? As you can, I wrote down my notes because I wouldn't be able to like think of it, at the top of my fingers. But from at the top of your head, Nat, what do you think are the 7 main categories that one should check for in a new house?
Okay, so what's coming to my mind off the top of my head? Flooring and tiling.
Okay.
Floor tiles. The walls.
Yep.
Particularly if your walls are plastered or whether your walls have tiles or not.
Yep.
So floor, walls. Carpentry. You
Okay,
want
carpentry.
to check if your carpentry has warped. And then toilets as well,
Yep.
like water seepage issues.
Yep. Very good.
And electrical cabling.
Yep.
I mean,
good.
sometimes like renovators, they may be a bit careless, and then
Correct.
they may mishandle your cables, and then your electricity goes wonky, or your Wi-Fi goes wonky, or this and that.
Yep. You are
So, yeah.
absolutely right, Nat. You mentioned 5 out of 7, but of course there are many other things that one can check or one should check. But the main categories, the 7 main categories are floors, internal walls, ceiling, doors, windows, mechanical and electrical M&E fittings, toilet, which I think is the most important, and other components such as your carpentry work, like your cabinet, a shoe rack, and staircase railings and whatnot. Okay, first on the list, floors. The main category. Now, to assist with the checking of floor tiles, skirting walls and ceilings, do bring along a cloth, bucket, sponge, mop, or broom, soap, and garbage bag so that you can clean up dirt and dust for the more thorough inspection. So basically, just be prepared lah to it's gonna be a dirty kind of work. Like one of the questions that you can ask yourself is like, what's the level of inconsistency in that flooring before it is deemed a defect? So let's say, for example, you have different use. Let's say, for example, you start from yellow, then right at the bottom it begins to be, the top, let's say it's bright yellow, then right at the bottom begins to be
It starts
light
turning
yellow.
brown.
Yeah, it
or
starts
like-
turning brown, or yeah. So that's what we mean by the tonality change. Next is you can see if there are any blisters, wet patches, and cracks on the walls and ceiling. As such, these defects may hint at issues not visible to the eyes. For example, lack of waterproofing and leaking pipes in the wall. Okay, and you may also want to ensure that the surface are smooth and free from dirt. Okay, this is we're talking about floors again. Do check for gaps between the skirting and wall of a floor. When it comes to your flooring, look out for uneven surfaces, gaps, cracks, chips, and scratches. Before I go on to the next category, Nat, what about you? Have you experienced any form of defect in your house before? In terms of the flooring defect? Yes, no? Perfect house, nothing.
No. I have actually last year,
Okay.
but that was like way over the 1 year period. I think this defect came to be because when we first got the house, the construction for the flooring wasn't done very well, so it left a lot of air pockets, and as a result, the flooring tiles in my living room, they first started to swell. It started to form like a little hill in the living room, and then slowly it started to crack. The pop tiles, it
This
started
is
to
tiles,
crack.
right?
The flooring
okay.
tiles.
Okay.
So eventually we had to hack the entire floor.
Wow.
We had to hack the entire floor. Hack the living room, kitchen. Hack the floor in the living room and the foyer, and just like retile everything
That must
and
be
make
costly.
sure. Yeah.
Were you the one that have to fork out for the damages, or dad or parents that did
My
it?
parents.
Well, but it must be expensive, lah, guys.
It
yeah,
was.
I just want to give another tip. When it comes to parquet flooring, it's parquet flooring, spelled as in Parquet. You got to feel for bubbles underneath the flooring and check whether it is creaking. Because if you notice that your parquet floor is like that, and then you better gotta ask them to rectify it for you. Okay, because it might get worse in the future. So that's flaws for you. Next, we're gonna talk about door, DOORS. Now, the door is an excellent place to start checking for defects. But you don't want to start from door, it's also okay. Now, check to see if there's any damage or visible gap and ensure that the door isn't warped. Nat, you wanna explain what's the meaning of warp when we talk about door? Warp
Basically,
door.
like when your door is supposed to be straight, instead it curves.
Yeah.
It like curves like this.
So a
There's a
warpy
slight
door.
concave.
Yep. Okay, so the question that you can ask yourself is like, what is the adequate gap width between a door leaf and a door frame? Now, it's also good to check whether all the locks in the door is working. So put in your key and make sure it turns and slips smoothly in and out. When you open the door, again, like what I said, check that your door doesn't squeak, squeaky sound. Very typical in horror
Like
movies.
rusty hinges.
Rusty
or
hinges, yes,
The
right.
hinges are uneven.
Yes, correct. I think Nat already has said whatever I wanted to say. So repeat this process for all the doors in your house. There could be many doors. There could be, there'll be a few doors lah. Let's not guess how many doors there are. Anything else to Nat now about doors, checking doors, Nat? Anything else you want to add?
Yeah,
Shit,
like
really.
door, like sometimes when renovators they try to install your door, and then it can end up in having chips in the door frame,
Yep.
or like chips in the door itself, chips or like scratches or even dents. So yes, these are also possible defects to look out for when checking your doors and also your door frames.
But
Your
this would
door
be-
frames are just as important.
Yeah. So, but this will be after the renovation, right? Not a fresh home. That means this is the one that you said is post renovation, not pre renovation, right? I
Yeah.
mean, when you get in your ID to renovate your house lah. So that's one thing that you can do.
But then you
Okay.
can also check like in the middle of the renovation, make
Yes,
sure to like
yes.
nip the problem in the bud before it gets too big.
Yep.
So you can check it like in the middle of your renovation, or you can also like quickly check it after post renovation, just
True.
as long as you're still covered by
The
the 1
DLP.
year, the 1 year.
Defects liability period. Okay, thank you, Nat. Now let's move on. That was doors. Now let's talk about windows. Now windows, just like your doors, you got to check if any of your windows have any visible gaps or damages. Okay, I'm gonna show you. I don't know whether I have it. Did I put it up? Oh no lah, never put up. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I have to check my com for a little bit was because we came across a posting in the forum where somebody complained about water seepage inside their windows, and we will be advising the forum user on what the next step to take. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, do not try to open any casement window entirely and close it to ensure it's functioning correctly. Now for sliding windows, you got to check the tracks to ensure they are not obstructed and the window can be opened and closed without any problems. That is very important. Additionally, make sure all handles work and they are not broken or rusty. And the next most crucial step is to ensure that all your windows can be securely locked with a key. Almost all windows are given a key. So there is like a typical. Am I right?
It depends on
Yeah,
the grills. Like the
okay,
grills in my time may come with like padlocks
Yes.
and all, but
Yep.
I don't think the grills today may have, especially if you're going for like invisible grills.
Yeah. So if your Windows comes with lock and key, please do test it out and see whether all keys and all locks are working. So that is Windows. We did not mention window grill. We're probably going to cover that in another topic, because I think in terms of safety, I think having not only a window but of course having a window grill at your window, I think that's is one of the useful safety feature that homeowners can install, especially if you have kids inside your house. So we're gonna cover that in another topic. You wanna add in anything about Windows other than the fact that Windows is in the eyes of the Windows in the eye of the beauty beholder lah. No, I got it wrong altogether. So anyway,
No, it's the eyes are the windows.
Windows of the soul.
The eyes are the windows to the soul.
yes, okay, I got it.
Windows are just windows.
Windows are just Windows. Okay. Okay, moving on. Like what Ned mentioned earlier, the next thing that we can check is that you should check. Sorry, not can check. Is the mechanical and electrical fittings, which is the M&E. Just very briefly, when you go into your new house, right? So one thing you can do is bring along your charger, so you can test individual power sockets to ensure they are in working order. Just basically just any small appliances. So go to every plug and sockets and try it out. Now, before you plug in your charger or your small appliances, check to see if there are any visible gaps around the power socket and the light switches, and look out for exposed wires. I mean, exposed wires is one of the worst things. You know,
Yeah.
you can
Especially
experience.
if you have a kid running around,
Precisely.
they step on the wire, boom, by
Yeah,
kid.
and then you can experience, electrocution and all that. The next category, which is I think, which is the most important. Personally, I think that is the most important, because this will be an area where it will be utilized the most compared to other areas in the house. I'm not saying that other areas are not utilized as much lah, but what I'm saying is that this next category is like the place where even when a guest comes into your house, or a visitor comes into your house or visit your house, they will definitely might want to visit this place. It is called the toilet. Yes. Okay. Before I begin with the toilet, right? With the toilet, I just want to point out that the reason why this topic was chosen was because of your forum posting that we came across. I would like to say, I would like to show you one example. Mr. Sean Lee asked what to check for defect, and yours truly gave him an answer, and then he replied. So like what I said, we will attempt to answer all your queries and all your questions if you have any, and if you post it inside our forum. Again, it'll be leveraging on other users as well. They might have they might have the experience that the one that you are experiencing, and they might share whatever steps they took to resolve their problem. So yep, defects is nothing new. Almost, if you're those, almost everyone, it's difficult to have a perfect house lah, if you ask me. So yeah, once again, if you guys want to find out more about the DLP period and the rectification work for your new flat, please check out hdb.gov.sg. Now back to the last category, which is toilet. Now, toilet, right, it can be disastrous if you overlook all the small details in the bathroom. Now, first up, check the wash basin, toilet bowls, and any other bathroom fittings for cracks and visible damage. Any other part I missed? Toilet?
All right, so you've covered the toilet. the
No,
wash
I said
closet.
wash basin, toilet bowls, any other bathroom fittings for cracks and visible damage. Also, check that all bathroom fittings are working as intended. For example, if shower head lever supposed to be adjustable, then make sure that it's adjustable lah. Don't just one angle like that. That'll be wrong. You can ask them to redo it for you. And also check whether your sink stopper can be engaged properly, as in can fit in the hole properly, and they actually stop the water from seeping through. Okay. Now once that's done, okay.
What about the sealants? No, not sealants. The silicone paste that usually fixes.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Like for example,
Okay,
like
yes, very good.
like a silicone paste or whatever, or cement that's used to fix your sink to the wall. You may also want to check if there's going to be cracks in there, or else one day your sink is going to fall over, and that will obviously be really bad.
Yep. Okay, so once that's done, like I was saying, once that's done, you gotta turn on all taps, faucets, and showers, and then just to check whether everything is in perfect working order. Now, flood the toilet floor to ensure that it drains out as intended, and check the drainage for any debris blocking it. You will know if let's say the water is not flowing properly. If let's say there's like a Malay call it sumbat lah. What is sumbat in choke? If there's a choke in the piping, you will be able to see it. Now, while the water is running, check the pipes and the pipe joints for leaks from both the pipes and the walls. That is very, very important. Now, after turning off all taps, faucets, and shower, conduct one last check and ensure water isn't dripping out from the pipes, from the walls, or if water is not supposed to be there, if water is not supposed to flow from that location, then something is wrong. Okay. It's also good to practice. It's also a good practice to also inspect the toilet flush and confirm that the water tank fills up and stops entirely once refilled. Again, this is pre-renovation, okay? Because the standard toilet that the HDB will probably give you, you will usually come up with usually consists of a water tank where once you fill it up, and then the water will automatically bring the float up, and then will fill up your tank. So you got to check all that, okay? That is really, really important. That is toilet. Because if you fail to do it, I tell you, it's going to be disastrous as time goes by. Anything that you want to add, Nat? Anything that I miss when we talk about toilet? Anything else that we have to... anything that you want to add on? No?
Probably not at the moment. I think we've probably more or less covered the basic
The toilet,
defect
right?
checking when
Okay.
it comes to toilets.
But I like whatever you said earlier, Nat, which when it comes to that silicone part, I think it is the silicone part. Know what Nat trying to say? Let me just try to guess it. I think I know what it is. That this is your wash basin, and then this is your
Yeah.
wall. So in between your wash basin and your wall, they put a silicone, and then at the bottom of it, they usually have like a kind of hook to hold on to that wash basin. Are you referring to that? You are referring to that silicone,
Yes,
right?
it's they don't just like use like silicone paste. Sometimes they go for like grout or like cement to like
Yep.
fix the sink to
Yep,
the
yep,
wall.
yep.
And there was an incident. There was an incident once in my previous company. The sink wasn't fixed by cement or silicone. It
Oh.
was actually fixed with the carpentry, and then the
Wood?
carpentry, yes.
Oh my word.
So the sink was fixed to this little cabinet, and then the cabinet rotted over time because water,
Yeah.
water warping and all, moisture made the wood warp. So we heard a crash, it decayed, and then we rushed in and we saw that the cabinet had collapsed in,
My
and the
God.
sink with it. So
No one is injured, lah.
no one was injured.
Thank
Thank
God,
God.
no one is
Thank God. Yeah.
Okay, so yep, you better to perform all your defect checklists, defects checks before you actually physically stay inside the house. Conclusion now, okay, defects check, right, is definitely cost saving, like what Ned has shared. I'm sure after what happened to that boss or the sink, right?
The sink,
Yeah, the sink,
and the
what
cabinet
what you just
underneath.
shared. I'm sure you guys have to spend money and had it rectified or get a new one. So that is definitely cost spending. So defects
Yeah,
check.
actually, we pretty much like just hacked out the whole entire carpentry.
And then install
from
a new
top.
one.
Yeah, so that did cost money.
Okay, so yep, defects check equals cost saving. Homeowners are also highly encouraged to check for defects under different circumstances. Let's say, for example, night, day, rainy day versus your regular day, just to check for defects. Now, as defects checking can be a tedious process, do consider bringing items like fans, tools, snacks. Now, torchlight and stationery can also make the process an easier one. You understand why, like, once you do the check, you need a stool just to sit down and chill for a while. It's gonna be hot because you gotta remember now, no appliances is in that house yet. So, other things that you should note also include the misconception that defects checking only covers structural defects, which are visible, like stains, cracks, scratches, and gaps, for example. It is more than that. Apart from structural defects that can be seen with the naked eye, there may be hidden defects that are harder to identify by the untrained eye. These include the proper functionality of all mechanical and electrical fittings, the condition of all pipes, conduit, and trunking, and they typically require professionals to carry out the checks. So, if you do not have the confidence to carry out the defects inspection personally, do you have the confidence to carry out all this? Okay.
No,
All right.
no.
And fear missing out on catching some critical errors that should be rectified. Don't worry, there are professional that you can consult or that you can engage. So, but of course, it's not for free. You got to pay them a certain fee. Oh, that rhymes. And yeah, but trust me, it'll be a worthy investment to get a professional and expert to do a proper check in your house, rather than do it yourself, and rather than compare, and it's much cheaper than to actually do the actual rectification later on in the future. So that's up with the 9th episode of the Renotalk show. But before we end, and before I do my closing part, Ned, you want to add in anything about the defects check, or where can users go to find out more information? You want to share that?
Well, I mean, everyone is always free to browse the forum or even sign up as a forum user if you want to add some tips, maybe give some advice to fellow users. So there's the forum, and
Yep.
there's also one defect inspection company which they can check out.
Yep, there are a few actually. So you guys can go to Renotalk.com/professionals, and then you can search for defects check company, and then yep, you can get the information in that website. Now, thank you, Nat. I think we have come to the end of the show. Lastly, right, I'm just gonna share BCA's website. BCA is Building and Construction Authority. They also did actually stay in this page on how to deal with a defect in your new home. So if you guys want to find out more, please do visit the Building and Construction Authority website, and also the website at the website or the information at hdb.gov.sg. Okay, so if you guys have any comments, suggestions on how we can improve on the show and what topics that you would like us to talk about in our in our upcoming episodes, please drop me an email at z@renotalk.com. This is live. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. Those people who are watching us from the east and western part of Malaysia, thank you once again. This show runs twice, every Tuesday and Thursday at 6:18 p.m. This show is all about you homeowners, where we try to bridge the connections and problems that you have to solutions that we can provide. This has been Zeno, and it has been wonderful hosting this show once again to you. And this is
Natalia, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Nat, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
I'll see you guys this Thursday. See ya. Bye bye.